This episode of Hero Club is supported by our good friends over at Mage Hand Press. Check them out at magehandpress.com and buy their High Seas supplement for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition to Shanghai your own group of adventurers. If you like Hero Club, remember to rate and review on your preferred platform and tell your friends.
Welcome to Hero Club. I'm Nick Williams.
And I am George Primavera.
George and I have been playing D&D together for years.
Now, a lot of people think you need to be a big, huge nerd boy to play Dungeons & Dragons.
But in reality, you just have to be willing to spend 4 hours of your own time on a weekday trashed on cheap beer cross-legged around a coffee table.
I lost a game of Flip Cup in 2012, so I had to buy all the books and learn how to be Dungeon Master. My dad was disappointed.
Yeah, he was. But after a game or two, we realized that it's actually a really fun and effective way to tell an awesome story.
Yeah, it's like long-form improv, but you kill more people.
Here's what you need to know. George creates a world and the framework for a cool story.
And the players, like Nick, create characters beforehand, all with special abilities, sometimes magical, sometimes not, and they adventure through the story as best they can, trying not to die.
We, the players, roll dice to see if our improvised actions fail or succeed, trying to beat a number in George's head that he promises he doesn't change at will.
But at the table, I am God, my game, my rules.
Okay, so it's as nerdy as you thought. You know what? Just off, man.
Oh,
right off,
all right,
okay?
Nick, maybe don't tell everybody to F off. And it's not that nerdy. I mean, we get rid of all that stupid math, and we add music and sound effects and stuff like that, so, you know, it's cool.
Anyway, these stories do follow a linear plot, so if you want to know what's going on, start at the beginning of any season you like and have fun with it.
Without further ado,
welcome to Hero Club! Yeah!
With Vivian Stoker captured by the Archpriest Ezra, and with the bleeding armada swarming the coast like wasps, Captain Muldoon thought it best to lay low on the island haven Denacruz, where scoundrels and mongrels lived without fear of law and order. It would be suicide to go back for Vivian now, but the mouse had escaped dire circumstances before, though never quite of this magnitude. A night on Denacruz would surely be a much-needed respite from the ceaseless travel. Or so the captain hoped.
the night is starless and cold. The pitch-black water rocks the old wives' tale gently back and forth. The old vessel groans like a beast. A skeleton crew keeps the ship pointed in the right direction, eastward, towards the pirate sanctuary of Denacruz, an island that has thus far kept itself out of the Armada's domain. After several days of breakneck travel, the crew is now only half a day out. In the belly of the ship, past a door with various warnings forbidding entry, and inside of Vivian's dubiously decorated quarters, stands Drake Muldoon in a sleeping gown and cap, staring at the black diamond that swings around lightly at eye level, suspended by obsidian chains. The candle in Drake's hand illuminates the dark smoke roiling within the massive gem, all while Drake's skeletal reflection stares back at him, eyes missing. For the briefest moment, Drake strains his ears as the wind begins to pick up, and he hears, "Ever may she reign." Behind Drake, the door creaks open, and Bastion pokes his head inside.
Oh, my apologies, Bastion. Couldn't sleep either, eh?
The voice is gone. There is only the wind whistling through the porthole.
No, Captain. Not much sleep to be had with this thing. Many restless nights. Apologies for frightening you.
That's quite all right. You know how jumpy I get after hours. Old habits die hard, I guess.
Is this the first night you've come down here?
I'm a bit ashamed to admit it, but I've come down here every single night since it's been aboard. Don't quite know why. Something pulls me here. Hard to explain.
A gust of wind rocks the ship a bit further, the diamond swings a little bit more, and a couple of Vivian's glass tubes clink against each other gently.
Yes, Captain. Me as well. It seems we have missed each other these nights. If we are both feeling the same pull, perhaps we can come down together from now on.
I'd like that. Drake shifts uneasily, glancing around the room. A few nights on Denacruz ought to do us some good. It always does.
Yes, Captain. It might lift the spirit. And who knows? Vivian may have found his way back to us there.
That is the agreement. He has a week, and I have the utmost faith in him. Always have. He's a scary fellow, but capable. Certainly.
Captain Drake, you know I do not believe in coincidence with things that have happened in our past, and I am not trying to bring it up again, but this thing, and the fact that it is just us drawn to it, if things like this continue to happen, what are we going to tell the crew?
Well, I don't know. I guess we'll have to cross that bridge when we come to it.
And what if, Captain, we come to that crossing, and we no longer have control over our decisions?
Can you both make a charisma save, please?
10.
9.
Both Drake and Bastion suddenly turn to the diamond. Once again, the wind's volume increases, whistling more loudly until finally, both of them hear it. Both of them can tell it's clearly in Commander Bosch's voice, the tiger who was lost to the diamond a few weeks ago.
If I may, she reign.
There's a split second, and both Drake and Bastion turn to each other. Realizing they've both moved several steps closer to the diamond, and both of their hands are outstretched, just short of the black surface.
Well, good night. Drake collects himself and hurries out of the room.
Bastion follows. Captain, if something like that happens again, I'm going to tell them.
And if you tell them, Bastion, we'll have words. Good night. And Drake ascends the steps.
Above deck and high in the crow's nest, Lilia lies in a small hammock, wide awake. Her pet firefly, Henrietta, dances delicately around her fingers, landing occasionally and pulsing its little light.
Okay, that was good. Let's practice again. On, off, on. Super bright, dimmer, off, on. You're very good at this.
Henrietta has followed not one of the commands. There's a bit of disturbance from below, and from the ladder rises Edgar Churchill in a big, cushy violet robe.
Good evening, Lilia. I'm not waking you, I hope.
No, I've been wide awake. I'm trying to practice Henrietta's skills for lighting and dislighting. It's kind of working. I think we're getting better. Why are you up? You're normally in bed very early.
Well, couldn't sleep. Couldn't quite, put my finger on why. But I figure while I'm awake, I might as well check on you and see, I was just wondering if you've given that compass a look? Have any idea what it is or how to fix it?
Well, to be honest, every time I look at it, it just keeps going in a circle. I don't really know what that means. Love will guide you home. I don't know, it seems very open to interpretation.
That it does. That it does. Well, could you bring it out now?
If you like, I can show you. Look, it's right in here. And Lilia goes over to her little pile of various belongings, bringing out the compass and opening it.
Just spinning around in a circle, I see.
Mm-hmm.
Lilia, make an investigation check.
8.
The compass's surface is really smooth. There are no visible grooves, and no real damage appears to have been done to the compass at all. Yet still, the magnetism seems like it has completely failed this device. The arrow spinning around in a circle slowly. Can you make an Arcana check for me, please?
Botch.
Lilia grasps the compass tight, her eyes closed, grunts a little bit, as if really trying to access something in her memory, and she sighs, unable to find anything bizarre about the object.
I don't know. I've looked at so many compasses, and this one, well, it's nice, but I don't know what makes it different yet.
Well, no need to rush it. I'm sure the answer will come to you when the time is right.
Edgar turns around, begins to descend the ladder, but right before he disappears out of the crow's nest,
Lilia, if you don't mind my asking, why is it you've stayed with us for so long? I do not mean you any offense, milady, but you don't exactly appear to be the typical pirate.
That's a good question. I think that back at home, even though it was all monkeys and the whole island is just monkeys, I still felt different and out of place, kind of like I never fit in. And then when I found you all, everyone was different. Everyone's unique in their own way, which when you think about it, unites us. So that's why I stayed. Of course I miss my family, but I found another one, and I quite like it.
Henrietta the Firefly rests gently on Lilia's shoulder, dimming its light and nestling into Lilia's fur. Edgar Churchill is fully crying.
That was a far more beautiful answer than I expected. Good show, Lilia. I'm going to think about that for the rest of the night.
And he descends the ladder, sniffling all the way.
Oh, but goodbye.
What makes us different makes us united.
The cold night passes, and as the sun rises, the clouds part, revealing a brilliant, bright blue sky. Denacruz is spotted on the horizon right in the middle of the afternoon. The cross-shaped island's copious flora becomes visible, and a few ships sit docked at a long stone jetty. The shape of the island is deceivingly open, with various treacherous sandbars making passage extremely difficult for the unpracticed helmsman. But Kip Lockerbie guides the ship through almost lazily, his gigantic bare paws tossing the wheel with ease. As the ship drops anchor and the plank extends, a little jackalope, Michael Hopscotch, bounds up to meet you.
Michael Hopscotch is a jackalope. He's tall, lanky, not athletic looking, skinny, has white fur with some gray patches here and there. His antlers are shorter than average.
As the crew begins to disembark, Edgar Churchill leads the way, doffing his cap and greeting the jackalope.
Michael, good day to you. How's everything been here?
Oh, it's great. It's good to see you. It's been so long. I missed you all. The good crew of the old wives' tale. You guys are my favorite, and I've missed you.
Been deep in the bottle again, haven't you, Michael?
Oh, yes. Because I own a tavern, and I like drinking.
The jackalope gives a small shudder as he hiccups violently.
Where's everyone else?
Just then Bastion comes bounding into view carrying 2 bottles of wine. Michael! My favorite drinking buddy! Here we go, the prescription for 2 bottles of wine! One for you and one for me.
Bastion! I've missed you, buddy! How's it going?
Oh, he always misses us. I've missed you too, Michael. Drink!
Okay, no problem there. Can you guys tell me any cool stories? What have you been up to?
Michael turns the bottle upside down, his lips suckling at the top of it, funneling alcohol into his body, all while keeping his eyes directly on all of you, expectantly awaiting his story.
Is that old drunkard asking for stories again? Michael, my good man. And Drake hurries down the gangplank to embrace Michael.
Oh, the great captain of the seas. I missed you. I missed you all. Have I said that? I think I have.
And everybody begins to head up the shore towards the tree line. About 20 feet in, the trees clear drastically, and even though there is a large canopy of leaves overhead, a bustling pirate village sits hidden from the sun and prying eyes. The crowd begins to surge past Edgar, making its way towards a ramshackly bar in the top left corner of the town. A rickety sign hangs off the storefront and reads, "The Jacked Rabbit." Inside, it's musty, dark. An entire wall is open that leads onto a gorgeous deck with a beautiful view of the ocean. Torches light the deck, while candles light the interior. It's still bright in the middle of the day, and you see several barrels have been set up at various tables. Michael has definitely been expecting company. Already at the bar, a crew of dogs and cats. Michael shakily hops up onto a table and taps a keg, yelling to the crowd,
I wish you all a happiest drinking. That's what I wish you. Get to drinking.
Bastion has dragged Michael over to a table to regale him with the only proper telling of the past few weeks. All right, Michael, drink up, cause this one is a doozy. So, we found this black diamond and it reflected this skulls when we looked into it, it was so scary, Michael. And then Vivian was like, I love that diamond. And we were like, no, Vivian. And the captain has been just a little bit out of it. And the penguins try so hard. The penguins try, but they are just so incompetent.
There's a splash of rum on Bastion's back as Biff, Boff, and Richardson stare angrily at a table behind.
And they eavesdrop on everything. What did I say? Richardson? Hey, remember when I said that you were not allowed to do any performances, but then I gave you the performances back because of good behavior? None of them anymore! Oh, you're sorry! Oh, well, you know what? We're going to talk about this later.
The penguins all turn around, dejected.
I'm sorry, Michael. I did not want to fight in front of you.
Meanwhile, at the bar, Lilia is entertaining several members of the Old Wives' Tale crew when she feels a paw on her right shoulder. As she whips around, she lays eyes on two ocelots. Captains commonly referred to as the twins. Tig and Tug Scratch, the captains of the Whirling Dervish, are very famous burglars, effectively ransacking several Armada banks in just the past few weeks alone. Clearly they must be staying at Denacruz to lay low for a while.
Tig! Tug! Hi! How are you guys? Last I heard you'd been robbing places in Key East.
Hello, Lilia, so good to see you! He goes in for a big hug. Tig then follows suit.
Wow, you look so great!
Did you do something to your fur?
I slept on it funny, but I think that's it.
Can you show me how?
Well, how I like to sleep on my hammock, sometimes I like to go on my belly with my hands and feet dangling off, because I like the idea that I could grab onto something if I need to. Otherwise, it's just on my back.
What a coincidence! We sleep in just a cute little ball.
Do you guys want to drink a lot of wine together? We could play that one game we used to.
The one where we never remember?
That one, I think.
I think I love it.
Tig and Tug, their pupils narrowing a little bit, pull out a very large flask and promptly stick 2 bamboo straws into it and begin to slurp inward. Lilia does the same, and the three stare at each other, silently chugging from this flask. A crowd begins to gather and cheers the contestants on, though everybody is unsure how they're going to determine who the winner is.
Oh, hey, everybody, they're going at it!
There we go again.
Out on the deck, the sun has begun to set, and it's breathtaking. The sky is purple, blue, red, orange, yellow, and as everybody begins to settle down, stuffed with beetle steaks and grass bread, the entire congregation begins to come together as one, in a giant circle. Lilia has clearly won the contest she was having with Tig and Tug, who both sit under the bar, desperately holding onto their stomachs. Tug appears to have passed out. Finally, as the sun sets below the horizon line, Michael Hopscotch stumbles out into the center of the circle and calls for everybody's attention.
Hey, everybody, over here. Okay, so, I was hoping that now that we've all enjoyed some good brew and some nice grass bread and beetle steak, that our tummies are all full, whether we could all enjoy a nice song. Does anyone have a song that they'd like to share with all of us from the seas?
I've got a song for ye.
Is that you, Cooter Brown?
A scratchy old Pomeranian hobbles to the front.
Captain Cooter Brown to you.
Yeah, Captain, take it away.
Ha-ha, right, you boys. Just like we practiced. A 1, a 2.
We are sniffing out a petticoat or two. Make 'em howl, 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 the whole night through. In the morning, boys, we're off while they're sleeping like a log. A sow's a sow, a cow's a cow, and boys, a dog's a dog.
It's a short song, but it gets the crowd going and everybody applauds politely, a couple of whoops and cheers in the crowd.
Drake pushes Lilia into the middle of the circle.
Oh, yes. Oh, Lilia, she's got great songs, everybody. Shh, shh.
Lilia, though kind of surprised by Drake's sudden push, is not unprepared. Swaying back and forth lightly, she takes a deep breath and begins her lament.
I'd heard the tales about her scales like silver lace. The royal plains could ne'er contain her dazzling face. How I long to hear her song, to know her more. But wings and beaks will never reach the ocean floor. I flew around from sound to sound, from spring to spring. I turned an ear that I might hear my lady sing. I soldiered on from dusk till dawn across the sea. And then one day in Guilford Bay she called for me. She'd come upon a merchant's son from Denacruz. He stole and sold much precious gold and silver too. With pipe and drum he drew her from her waterland, and with a spear he kept her here upon the sand. The royal plains could ne'er contain such beauty so. Like silver lace upon her face her scales did grow. I held her hand upon the sin as cold as stone. She bid me pray, she bid me stay and take her home. But wings and beaks can never breach that endless foe.
Everybody make a charisma save.
9.
17.
Everybody in attendance is sobbing uncontrollably.
I'm sorry, I know it was a party, but I always liked that song. I think that there's a good lesson in it.
Wiping away a tear, Drake heads out to the balcony and lights his pipe, bringing a bottle of rum with him.
The party begins to disperse, and people begin to file out of the bar, moving to the accommodations that Mr. Hopscotch has set up for everybody.
Lilia, upon seeing Drake hastily leave the bar, follows him out.
I'm sorry, Captain. I know that you have a difficult relationship with that song.
That's quite all right, Lilia. It's a hard song to hear, but it's beautiful when you sing it.
Well, thank you. Do you think she's still out there?
Tig and Tug come bursting onto the deck and grab Lilia in a gigantic hug.
Lilia, you were so great! You were so great!
Lilia, can you write it down?
She wants you to write it down for us.
We can sing it to each other in
our cute little ball.
When we're in balls. Oh, are you sick?
No, got
Again?
it. Got that one.
Not again.
All right, we're going to bed. Good night. Hi, Drake.
Bye, Drake.
You look sad.
Here's a neckerchief to wipe your tears.
The neckerchief thrown at Drake is in fact a stick.
Tig, Tug.
The two cats disappear with everybody else, laughing as they head down the path.
Lilia calls after them,
I'll have it ready in the morning.
and turns back to Drake.
That's the secret of winning the game. You never act how drunk you are.
Drake chuckles to himself, takes a swig of the rum bottle and passes it to Lilia before looking back out at the view.
The two stay there for a few minutes and then eventually head back to their quarters to turn in for the night. However, after a few hours of restless sleep, Drake, you feel a pair of paws rustle you in your bed.
Drake's eyes shoot open and he pulls the hammer back on his flintlock pistol, kept under his pillow just in case.
Michael Hopscotch is desperately trying to waken you. He is fear-stricken and very urgent when he talks to you.
Drake, it's me, Michael. I need you to come with me, please.
Sorry, Michael. What's the matter?
No big deal, but, actually, very big deal. There was someone here on this island who I didn't know, and that's not supposed to happen, so I need your help. I was able to tie him up, but they're in a shed.
Slow it down, Michael, slow it down. Use your words.
Sorry, Drake. It'll be easier if I show you.
He tugs on your hand and pulls you outside as soon as you're ready to leave. You see that Bastion and Lilia have also been grabbed, standing out in the cold. It's another starless night, and there's a stiff, cold breeze. Michael leads you through the quiet pirate town, to the outskirts, past the tree line, to a very rickety-looking wooden shed just on the waterfront. The house is on stilts with a few steps leading up into it, so you can assume that when high tide comes, the building is surrounded by water, right up to the porch. But it's low tide now, and the rocks and shells litter the wet sand as you approach the building, a small lantern hanging from a hook outside. Michael takes a breath, looks at all three of you, opens the door, and lights a lantern on the interior. And he reveals
a haggard-looking gazelle, slouching while tied to a chair. He is missing his left leg. A peg leg replaces it. He is also missing his right eye with an eye patch over it. He has mangy bald patches in places in his fur, and his left horn is broken off. It's almost completely gone.
Yeah, here he is.
Where am I? Where am I? What are you doing with me?
The gazelle is trembling.
I was just on the beach and then I didn't know where I went.
Whoa, calm down, my man. We mean you no harm.
Who are you?
They're the most trustworthy, most heroic crew I know, and they'll know what to do. They'll help.
At this, the gazelle begins to panic and starts to yell out the shack for help.
Help! Help!
Michael, panicking, slams the door shut, closing the five of you in. He begins to take watch out the window.
No, shh, it's okay. It's all right. We're all friends here. Are you hurt? Are you in any pain?
No, I'm not hurt. I escaped from the Briar Patch. It's a rogue pirate ship off the coast. I washed ashore and I tried to find any signs of life, and then this jackalope came out of nowhere and imprisoned me. My name is Timothy Chatsworth.
Oh my hog, the Briar Patch.
Please let me go.
All right. To be honest with you, you are among pirates, but we are not like them.
I'm sorry, I'm just a bit panicky. Being on the Briar Patch wasn't a picnic either.
I should say not. Is it true what they say about the carnivore?
Yes, the rumors are true. You might notice my leg. He took it, and he ate it.
Salt me.
Lilia reaches for her own wine flask before offering it to Timothy, and offering him a swig.
Oh, thank you so much. Timothy takes a swig. Oh, thank you. I'm terribly sorry if this is a ignorant question, but where are we right now?
I'm terribly sorry, my man. I know it seems incredibly rude with you tied up here and terrified as you are and us standing above you, but we're going to need a little bit more information first, before we can tell you that.
Well, the reason I ask is the pirate captain, he kept referring to a place known as Denacruz. He said he was looking for a black diamond. If we are there, and I know it's a secret place, but if we are there, we must leave soon. He's on his way. He's looking for the black diamond. I don't know what that is, but that's what he's searching for.
Did he say why he wanted it?
I'm not sure, but there was an Armada man aboard, and he kept impressing upon the captain how important that diamond was.
I have a question. If someone had experience escaping from the ship, how did you do it?
I slipped out of one of the portholes. I was able to fit because of my missing leg. Blessing and a curse, right? But if we are on Denacruz, you can blindfold me, you can send me away, I won't tell anyone I was here, but everyone has to leave this island now. I mean, for Hog's sake, whatever that phylactery thing is, they'll kill everyone on this island for it.
Can everybody please roll an Arcana check?
8.
19.
16.
The word strikes a chord with Drake. Phylactery is a term you've only seen in the scariest of texts, the most forbidden of tomes, sometimes scrawled across ancient slabs in ruins.
Oh, salt me sideways. Of course that's what the diamond is. I should have known. I've only heard of one before, but A phylactery is a cursed object. Any object, really, used by a magician to achieve eternal life and untold power at great cost. A dark task that requires a sacrifice. The reward for such a dark deed is life everlasting. If the magician attached to the phylactery dies, they will regenerate completely as long as the item remains intact. Though the soul lives on, however, after so many deaths, the body begins to forget how to live and decays around the still living magician, creating a lich. Oh my hog. I need to talk to you all outside right now.
I don't know if that's such a good idea.
And why not?
Oh, we're not alone.
As you turn out the window, you see scores of lions lined up, armed to the teeth, on the exposed beach.
Drake turns and slaps Timothy across the face. What are you not telling us, boy?
Nothing!
What are you not telling us, boy?
Nothing, I guess they caught up to me. I'm so sorry. They're here for the phylactery. Please, do you know anything about it? Maybe we can try to reason with them.
If what I've heard and what you've said about the carnivore is true, our time for negotiation is long since past.
We are the crew of the Old Wives' Tale, and we have gotten out of situations far stickier than this. I can go invisible. So can he. She can teleport away. You'll be all alone. Eaten by lions. So tell us something that makes it worthwhile for us to stay here.
We're surrounded. Please, I'm sure if you just tell them where the phylactery is, they'll let us go.
Guys, I think you should see this.
The lions have begun setting torches around the shack. They're not going to burn any of the wood, but they just seem to be setting it all up in a circle, illuminating the area.
Drake gets low by the windowsill and says, Lilia, get to the tavern. Sound the alarm. We are going to need all the help we can get.
From outside, you hear a voice call out.
Crew of the Old Wives' Tale, come out and kneel before the carnivore.
There's a cheer that goes up. Some of the lions are laughing at this. And you see out the window that one of the lions, with a big feathery hat, has stepped to the front.
I am very hungry for blood.
Okay, I'll be back as soon as I can.
Looks him straight in the eyes and says,
Good luck.
Drake feels an inspiring warmth in his body.
Lilia's eye patch glows as she goes to open a portal on the shack floor.
But the glowing fizzes and stops, and her hands crumple against the wooden floor. No door in sight.
Did I leave it locked?
Please, your magic won't work around Captain Blackbriar.
Please, just tell him, and then he'll let us go. I know you have a black diamond because you told me in your story. I'm sorry, Bastion, but you did say that.
So you do have it? Well, I'm sure if you just give it to him, they'll let us go.
I don't like you anymore.
Please, just tell him what he wants to know.
Oh, all these theatrics are getting a little bit old, aren't they? Thanks for the wine, sweetheart. Michael, that will be all I need you for.
The four walls of the shack fall apart. The shack is now an elevated platform with stairs leading up and walls sloping off onto the ground, sort of like a pedestal. The lions are lined up, and the lion out front, who was previously wearing the feathered hat, takes it off in a sweeping gesture and throws it into the air. The gazelle reaches his hand up and deftly catches it.
All right, enough lollygagging around. You tell me where the diamond is right now, and you'll escape with your lives.
Bastion instantly punches him in the face. 26. 10 damage.
You're gonna regret that, big boy.
Lions unsheath their swords, beginning to circle kind of lazily around the shed, but don't move. They just sort of look on and keep watching.
Bastion, remember Bovington? Go.
Bastion attempts to grapple the gazelle. 18.
Bastion locks on to the captain.
Oh, you smell delicious, big boy.
Good. You and I are going to dance. Bastion takes off towards the water, blowing past some of the lions.
The lions, when Bastion reaches them, carrying the cackling captain on his shoulder, all try to brace and stop him in his path. Bastion, make 4 dexterity saves for me.
18.
Tears past the first.
19.
Blows past the second.
21.
Shoots past the third, and the last lion.
17.
Blows past the last.
Looks like a to-go order, boys.
The Gazelle bites down into Bastion's shoulder with sharp teeth. 14.
Miss.
The teeth struggle to get a grip on Bastion's tough skin. However, the 90 lions behind all begin to push swords away and pull out large muskets, cock them, and hold them up.
No, I don't remember Bovington. Why do you ask?
Forget about it, Lilia. Get us back to the tavern.
Right. And Lilia, eye patch aglow, attempts to open the dimension door one more time.
This time, the door opens up and leads far away from the shed.
Thank Hogness. All right, get in. And she unceremoniously shoves Drake into it before going in and closing it on herself.
Michael Hopscotch is left alone on the platform. 4 or 5 lions staring at the spot where Lilia and Drake disappeared. And then their eyes all turn to Michael.
Hey guys. Just remember, my bar is called the Jacked Rabbit, and it's because I'm really jacked underneath this baggy old clothing.
Oh, you think you're a fighter, do you?
Well, no, I'm just bluffing, but I did help you out.
Ah, that's true, you did help us out. Tell you what, let's talk about it over dinner.
Cutting back to Bastion, who is running with the captain over his shoulder towards the water.
What's your plan there, big boy? Because your friends aren't getting off this island alive. And I doubt you're very good in the water, so why don't you save us both the swimmers here and paddle us back to shore, will ya?
The Gazelle plunges razor-sharp teeth into Bastion's shoulder, tearing away a strip of flesh.
29.
But Bastion, there's something else about the teeth. It's not just a normal wound. Bastion, you take 13 piercing damage and 1 necrotic damage, and the wound burns hot. Picking his head back up, the Gazelle then attempts to kick off of Bastion.
22.
23.
Oh, I see you're mostly muscle there, eh, big boy?
The Gazelle reaches into his sheath and pulls out a sword made from his old horn. It's sharpened, so there's a blade, and the tip spirals to the top with a sharpened point. The Gazelle stabs Bastion in his thigh.
He rolls a 19. Bastion takes 21 slashing damage, and now Bastion, can you make a Constitution save?
Botch.
Bastion, mid-stride, freezes standing up where the waves are crashing onto the beach. The sword wavers a little bit as it sticks in Bastion's thigh, and the Gazelle leaves it there, stepping off of the elephant as Bastion's muscles go rigid. A few lions come up and grab Bastion, and as soon as they have a firm hold on him, they force him down on his knees a little further back into the shore, and the Gazelle reclaims his horn sword.
What can I say? You had your chance.
Lilia, everyone has been accounted for except for Edgar. Where is he?
I don't know, is he not where he usually sleeps? I'll go check again.
Lilia goes to check.
Drake paces back and forth in front of a horde of pirates. Now, Bastion, Hog bless him, is buying us some time, but it won't be long. Each and every single one of you owes me for something. Tonight's the night I'm cashing in those checks. Time to take action. To the beach!
There's a cheer, swords unsheath, and the mob begins to advance on the beach. Lilia, as you bust into Edgar's quarters, you find that the bed has been slept in but is empty, and you see several papers crumpled up around the bed.
Edgar, we're all meeting outside.
And she goes over to the papers and begins unfolding them.
You can't read the language, but you recognize Scalic, the reptilian language, with odd, very twisted-looking runes. And right next to that is one of the scrolls stolen from the bank, from Ezra's war priests. Next to the Scalic writing are translations into Common. It looks like Edgar has been studying some of these scrolls. Some of the translations are harmless words, like jump or identify, but one of them says earthquake and is underlined.
Lilia quickly gathers up all the papers and stuffs them into her pocket, looking around to see if there's any sign of an open window or any kind of trail to indicate where Edgar could have gone.
Make a survival check for me.
7.
You can't find any trail.
Lilia turns around, and books it towards the beach.
Cutting back to the beach, the lions have put Bastion on his knees, and the Gazelle paces back and forth in front of him.
Allow me to introduce myself. Captain Nicholas Blackbriar at your service. I assume you're the captain of your little outfit. That's cute. I'm sorry for the theatrics earlier. I had to be sure that what Michael was saying was true. He's a slippery little rabbit, isn't he? Well, was. Now I'm gonna ask you one last time. Where's the phylactery?
The location of the diamond, it is as fluid as the sea. Sometimes it is here, sometimes it is there. Who's to say where it is now?
What use could you possibly have for it? You didn't even know what it was until I told you, did you?
No, I have no idea what it is, and I honestly do not care. But people I absolutely hate really want it. So I think I should probably just have it, so that they cannot do things with it.
You're not the captain of this little outfit, are you?
One of the lions reaches across and pummels Bastion's face several times. Bastion takes 10 damage.
Oh, very poor technique.
What are you trying to protect your friends? Don't mistake your crew for friends. Because all it takes is one little slip. One grumble of the tummy and we're back to the old ways, aren't we? You'd be surprised how quickly they'll cut you up, tenderize the meat, leave you soaking in marinade. Then they'll eat you, paired with some brandy or wine, which I'm more than prepared to do. Now, boys, take him to the brig.
Now, Nicholas, I think it is time for you to unhand that young man.
Standing about 40 feet back on the beach, Edgar Churchill stands, holding a scroll in his hand. Captain Blackbriar's eyes flash with recognition.
Edgar?
Edgar?
Hello, Bastion. It's all right, son. Won't be a moment. I'm sure you had this handled.
What are you doing, you old fool? I told you I wouldn't be so kind to you the second time.
Yes, I remember the sentiment. Fortunately, I came prepared. Bastion, run!
Just as Drake Muldoon's pirate mob crosses the tree line, swords aloft and torches alight, there's a flash of light that comes directly from the scroll unraveled by Edgar. The ground begins to shake. Sand begins to vibrate as if there's a deep bass note playing directly under the beach. And then there's a splinter right by Captain Blackbriar's feet. The lions release Bastion, start walking backwards a bit, looking to their captain, and the Gazelle yells over his shoulder.
We're all kinds of salty, boys. Back to the ship!
The Gazelle, with a speed that is remarkable, takes off down the beach, the lions in tow. All of them moving remarkably fast, easily outstripping the pirate mob. They move as a unit, in neat rows, and they disappear around the corner of the coast. As they run, the ground splits, chasing them off the beach, opening a wider and wider chasm. Bastion is now on the other side of it, and wave water is pouring down into the massive hole.
Bastion!
Bastion cracks his neck, takes a running start, and leaps over the chasm.
Bastion goes sailing over, lands on the safe side of the beach, and Edgar, pulling his hands out of the sand, reaches up and puts one on Bastion's shoulder.
Attaboy.
You realize the arm that he has placed on your shoulder is bent in places it shouldn't be. The arm appears severely broken.
I think this one might have been a bit much for me.
The scroll blows away in the wind, and as it floats a few feet away, disintegrates into the air. Edgar passes out, leaning on Bastion's chest.
Edgar! Bastion picks Edgar up, cradling him, and runs to meet his crew.
Lilia and Drake depart from the mob and run out to meet Bastion, holding Edgar.
Hogs above, is he okay?
Without waiting for an answer from Bastion, Lilia goes over to Edgar, placing her hands on him, and casts Mass Cure Wounds.
Edgar saved my life. Sends the crew away using one of those pieces of magic paper. It took a toll.
Lilia's hands rest on Edgar and on Bastion, and a flash of light emanates from her palms. Their wounds begin to heal. They both regain 24 hit points. Edgar's eyes flutter open, and he regains his footing. His arms still appear broken, but it's much less alarming.
Are you still with us, old man?
Oh, yes. I think I must have dozed off.
Lilia's quietly patting the top of his head.
You scared off all the lions. You're the most frightening creature on this beach.
Oh, Miss Randazzo.
The pirates circle around, looking to Drake as to what comes next.
Right, every beast to their ship. We'll catch this salting carnivore.
And then, around the bend of the island, a wicked-looking ship with long pieces of spiny chain hanging off the sides rounds the corner. The Gazelle and his crew have already made it back to their ship, and you see the words emblazoned across in dark red ink as the moon pokes through the clouds. The Briar Patch. Everybody's eyes fixate upon it until there's a splashing off to your left. As you all turn your gaze, you see a small figure emerging from the water. Even in the distance, you can tell it's a grumbling kind of noise coming from this creature. The figure shakes off a crustacean that has attached itself to the creature's leg, and then you hear a scraggly voice.
I swear to hog, if any of you lot have been in my bloody cabin...
Vivian!
There's an enormous boom and a whistle. You can see that above the Briar Patch, a little poof in the clouds as something rockets above it. There's a moment of absolute silence. The whistling picks up, and another poof through another cloud as a massive mortar shell tears through the sky, heading towards the beach.
Everybody get down!
The sand explodes just short of the mob, and the pirates scatter.
Drake stands up, straightens his shirt, and says, "Every beast to his ship."
I set upon the ship at dawn, I wouldn't dare be late. Abilities were checked to see if I could pull my weight. For my first meal, a lemon peel, the best I ever ate. The grand old ship began the trip, our fortune we were making. Silver, copper, platinum, gold, I seek the things that can't be sold.
This has been a Hero Club production, produced by Nick Williams and George Primavera, with associate producers Marty Abby Schneider and Dylan McCullum. Voice acting by George Primavera, Nick Williams, Hannah Fagerbakke, Dylan McCullum, Marty Abby Schneider, Jack Quaid, Jeffrey Robb, and Mariel Redlin. Theme song written by Matthew McCullum and performed by Hannah Fagerbakke. Special thanks to Kevin MacLeod and Benjamin Doyle for their incredible music, Mage Hand Press for their genius D&D 5th edition homebrew, and Marty Abby Schneider for his amazing artwork. Thanks for listening, and welcome to the club.
I'll count me blessed if I ne'er rest till this world I subdue. In every cove's a treasure trove.
It's all for the taking.
Silver, copper, platinum, gold, I seek the things that can't be sold. I seek the things that can't be sold.
Consider those checks uncashed. Consider those checks still awaiting deposit. This metaphor is wearing thin.